ॐ श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम गोपिका जीवन स्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतिथितीर्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां। योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसारसर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातममुमुचते कालव्यालमुखग्रास त्रासनिर्नाशहेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मादपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्यै न विद्यते जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत् ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णान् हरिभक्तिपरायणान् पूर्वाचार्यातहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्व विग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्र योगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे। कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुम् अवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्तेषभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव। श्रीहरे नमः श्रीहरे नमः श्रीहरे नमः। गोपिका जीवन स्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Welcome everyone. Okay, so we do a review of 38 stanzas. Shobha, you can maybe do the first half, and then Jai Shri Sriram Karaniki.
Sriram irkar.
Yes, Jai Shri.
Okay. And so Sriram can do second half then. Sriram, if you are able to. Yeah.
Sir.
Shobha, you go ahead.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते चतुर्थस्कन्धे अथ नवमोऽध्यायः। मैत्रेय उवाच त एवमुत्सनभया उरुक्रमे कृतावनामाः प्रिययुस्त्रिविष्टभं सहस्रशीर्षाभितदोगरुत्मता मदोर्वनं मृत्युदिदृक्षया गतः स वैदिया योगविपाकतीव्रया हृत्पद्मघोषे स्फुरिदिं तडित्प्रभं तिरोहितं सहसैवोपलक्ष्य Bahistidam tadavastam tadarsh.
So Shobha, on the first line, let's Spuritam. I think you said tim there, just a thumb on the word. Spuritam Tadit Prabhu.
Spuritam,
Yeah,
sure.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Taddarshanenagata sadvasah kshitava kshitau avavanta tangam vinamaya dandavat tribhyam prapashyan prapipannivar bagaha kambannivasyena bujairi lishan
satam. Second line after the comma is chumban, chu sound, chumban nivasyan. Yeah.
Chumban nivasyena bujairi lishan sadam vivakshanta madat vidam harihi nyatwasya sarvasya chahritya vastidah kritanjalim brahma mayena kambuna vasparshaya balam kripaya kapole savaitadeva pratipaditam giram दैवीं परिज्ञात परात्म निर्णयः तं भक्ति भावोभ्य गृणात सत्वरं परिश्रुतोरु श्रवसं ध्रुवक्षितिः ध्रुव उवाच योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिल शक्तिधरस्वदाम्ना अन्यां च हस्तचरणश्रवणत् वगादीने प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् एकस्त्वमेव भगवन्निदमात्मशक्त्या मायाक्ययोरुगुणया महदात् यशेषं सृष्ट्वानुविश्य पुरुषस्तदसद्गुणेषु नानेव दारुषु विभाव सुवद्विभासि त्वद्दत्तया वयनयेदमचष्ट विश्वं प्रभुत्त इव नाद भवत् प्रपन्नः तस्याभवर्ग्य शरणं तव पादमूलं विस्मर्यते कृतविदा कथमार्तबन्धो
sorry Shobha, first line la ore chinna correction. The second word vayuna yedam and u sound, okay? Vayuna yedam
sure vayuna yedam achashta vishwa. Thank you. नूनं विमुष्टं मतयस्तव माययाते ये त्वां भवाभ्यय विमोक्षणं अन्यहेतोः अर्चन्ति कल्पकतरुं गुणपोपभोग्यम् इच्छन्ति यत् स्पर्शजं निरयेऽपि नृणां या निर्वृतस्दिस्तदनु वृदां तव पादपद्म ध्यान sorry okay
Tanu Bhrutam. I think we said Tadanu, the first word.
Oh, sure. Tanu, yeah. Tanu Bhrudam Tava Pada Padma Dhyanad Bhavak Janakata Sravanena Vasyad Sabrahmani Swama Mahi Manyabinadama Bhute Him Dvandakasi Lulitat Patatam Vimanat Bhaktim Muhu Pravahatam Tvaime Prasango Bhuyadananta Mahatam Ama लाशयानाम एज्ञाज्ञसोल्बण मुरुव्यसनं भवाब्धिं नेशे भवद्गुणगदामृतपानमद्दः तेन स्मरन्त्यधिधरां प्रियमीशमर्त्यं ये चान्वद सुहृद्गृहवित्तधाराः एत्वब्जनाभ भवदीय पदारविन्द सौगन्ध्यलुप्त हृदयेषु कृत प्रसंगाः दिर्यंग गद्विजसरीसृपते वदैत्यमर्त्यादि परिचितं सदसद्विशेषं रूपं स्तविष्टमजते महदात् जनेकं नादपरं परमवेद्मि न यत्र वादः कल्पान्त एतदखिलं जठरेण गृह्णन् शेदे पुमान् स्वदृग नन्द सगस्तनदङ्गे यन्नाभि सिन्धुरुह काञ्चनलोकपद्मगर्भेद्युमान् भगवते प्रणतोऽस्मि तस्मै त्वं नित्यमुक्त परिशुद्ध विभुत्तात्मा कूटस्थ आदिपुरुषो भगवान् स्त्रियधीशः यद्भुत्तयवस्ति तिमकण्डितया स्वदृष्ट्या विशिष्टास्ति तावति मगो व्यतिरिक्तास्ते
Shobha, the
यस्मिन्
third line first word yad buddhyavasthitam.
Yes, yadbuddhyavastidam.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. यस्मिन् विरुत्त गदयो यनिशं पदन्ति विद्यादयो विविधशक्तय पूर्व्यात् तद्ब्रह्म विश्व भवमेघ मनन्दमाद्यम् आनन्दमात्रमविकारमहं प्रपद्ये सद्भाषिषो हि भगवंस्तव पादपद्मम् आशीस्तदा नुभजद पुरुषार्थमूर्तेः अव्येव मर्य भगवान् परिपादिदीनान् वास्रेव वत्सकमनुग्रह कादरोस्मान्
The first word Satya Shisho. I heard a different word there.
Oh, sure. Satya Shisho hi Bhagavastava pada padma. Maitreya uvacha adabishtuda evam vai satsangalpena dhimata भृत्यानुरक्तो भगवान् प्रदिनन्द्येतमब्रवीद् श्री भगवान्.
You can stop there, Shubha. You can stop there. Thanks.
Rajesh, just one question. The 17, the third line, Apyeva Marya Bhagavan or Bhagavan Parivadi Dinan?
Bhagavan.
Thank you.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Vedaham Devyavasitam Hridi Rajanyapalaga Tat Prayachami Patram De Turabamabi Suvrada Nanyay Radishtidam Batra Yet Prajishnu Trivakshiti Yetra Krahashadaranam Chodisham Chakramahidam Metyam Ko Chakravats Stanus Metyam Ko Chakravats Sasnu Prastat Kalpavasinam Dharmognikya Kasyabash Sukro Munayo E Vanekausaha Taranti Dakshina Kritya Pramanto Yat Sadarakaha.
It's 3 different lines only. So after that, Stasnu, the first line, comma, Shukro, second line, comma. So other than that, I think you were trying to say it like a 4-line thing. That's why.
Oh, sir. 3 minutes.
That's okay. You got the words. You keep going.
Yeah. Prastidedu vanam pitra tatva kam dharma samsrayaha shatrim sat varsha sahasram rakshita vyahadendriyaha tvat pradar yuttame nashte mrgayayam tudan manaha anveshandi vanam ata davagnim sapravaksheti.
Davagnim sa pravekshyati.
Davagnim sa pravakshati then?
Pravekshyati.
Oh, Vagnim ta pravekshati. Okay. Ishtvamam yagya hridayam yagyaif pushkala dakshinaihi bhuktva seha sishasatyaha andemam samsmarishyasi tadokandhasi matstanam sarvaloka namaskritam ubarishtat trushipyasdvam yadona vardade kadaha. Maitreya vacha ityarchita sabhagavan aditi. Sorry. Maitreya vacha ityarchita sabhagavan aditis yatmanah padam palasya pasyato tama swamakat gardatvajaha sobi sankalpajam vishnuho padasevopasaditam prapya sankalpa nirvanam nadi pritiyopya katpuram. Correct, Rajesh?
Correct. The first line on the Vishnoho before the comma. Okay. Sankalpajam
Vishnoho. Okay.
Yeah.
Vidurovacha Sudurlabam yat paramam padam harehe maya vinastacharanarscha narchidam laptvapya siddhartha imi vaika janmana. Correct, Rajesh?
Siddhartham ivaika janmana.
Oh, sorry. लप्त्वाप्य सिद्धार्थम इमिवैक जन्मना.
I think you're adding an extra me there. Ivaika janmana.
Oh, me அடிங்க போட்டு அடிக்கும் சார். Okay.
And and the me becomes the im and the e there.
Oh,
So
im and-
Siddhartham Ivaika janmana.
लप्त्वाप्य सिद्धार्थम इवैक जन्मना कदम स्वात्मानम अमन्यदार्थवित्. करेक्ट आगे?
Correct.
मैत्रेय उवाच माधुस्सबन्या वाक्पाणैर्हृदि वित्तस्तु दान् स्मरन् नै नो
Pranaihi. Visarga.
माधुस्सपन्य वाक्पाणैः हृति वित्तस्तान् स्मरन् नैच्छन् मुक्तिपदेर्मुक्तिं तस्मात् तापम् उबमुवेयिवान्
Upeyivan.
okay.
Upeyivan. Yeah.
Okay. ध्रुव उवाच समातिना नैकभवेन यत्पदं विदुस्सनन्दादय ऊर्ध्वरेदसः मासैरहं षड्भिः पादयोः
Shadbir Amushya Padayoho.
अमुष्य.
And if you have a Visarga, then it becomes a R sound there. So Shadbir Amushya Padayoho.
Oh, okay, okay. அது அவ கரெக்ட் பண்றா, நான் படிக்கிறேன். மாசைரகம் ஷட்பிரமுஷ்ய பாதயோः சாயும் சாயாம் சாயாம் உபேத்யாபகதः பிரதங்மதிः அஹோ பதமநாத்மயம் மந்தபாக்யஸ்ய பஸ்யதः பவச்சித sorry
Pashyata, no Visarga there. Yeah.
पश्यतः. ओके. भवच्चिदः पादमूलं कत्वा यासे यदन्तवत् मदिर्विदूषितदेवैः पदत्भिरहिष्णुभिः यो नारदवसस्तत्यं नाक्राहिषम् असत्तमः.
And the tune you went off one line off, so next one start fresh. Daivim Mayam.
Okay. Daivim Mayam Ubamasridya Prasupta Iva Binnatrika Dapye Dvidiyepya Yasati Pratru Vyakratruja Mayaitat Prartitam Vyardam Sikit Seva Katayushi Prasatya Jagadatmanam Tabasadu Prasadanam Vavachidam Ayaseham Bhavam Bhagya Vivarchitaha.
The second line, first word, Prasadya.
Oh, Prasadya Jagadatmanam. Okay. Swarajyam Yachado Mautyat Mano me Bhikshito Pada Ishwarat Chana Punyena.
Kshina.
Oh, Ishwarat China Punyena Balikar Ivadanaha.
And the first word, Maton, Sriram, Swarajyam. First line, first word, Swarajyam.
Okay, Swarajyam. Okay. Is it the second line character?
Halikaran Ivadanaha.
Halikaran Ivadana. Okay. Maitreya Vacha Na Vai Mugundasya Padarabindayo Rajo Jushastada Bhavatrusa Janaha Vachandi Tattasya Mridirta Mam
Atmano
Mridirta Atmano Yatruchaya Labdamas Samruddhayaha.
The first line on the Padara Vinda Yoho, there is a Visarga we added there. Okay, and the first line half point.
Okay.
When I mean Rajesh, என்னோடதுல பாதார விந்தயோகம்னு இருக்கு. அது
Then
ஓகேவா?
we changed it to Padara Vinda Yoho.
Oh,
We
thank
removed
you.
that R.
Sure.
Yeah, Padara Vinda Yoho.
Okay. Navai Mugundasya Padara Vindayoho. Okay. Akarnyatmajam Ayandam Sambaretya Yadagadam Raja Nasrattade Bhatram Abhatrasya Kudo Mama Sraddhaya Vagyam Devarshayehe Harshavekanatashitaha Vardha Hardur Adiprito Aharam Pradanan Mahadanam
Pradhan Mahadanam.
Aram Pradhan Magadanam. Okay.
Pradhan Mahadanam.
Pradhan Magadanam. Okay. Sadas.
I think that's where we stop. Yeah, 38.
Sorry, Rajesh. Now,
No
practice.
worries.
Sorry.
Rajesh, one doubt.
Ah.
On 15, second line, Yadbhuthya Vasthidim or Vastidam?
Vastitim.
Vasthidim. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think I still have to say the remaining part of the story for 9, and then we'll get to 10, right? So I think a little bit recap. So, when the Bhagwan comes in front of Dhruva, and then he says, okay, I know what you have in your mind, which is you wanted something greater than what your father had, greater than what your grandfather had. And he says, you will get it. You will come to this place called as Dhruva Lokha, right? And which he says that place at the end of the Kalpa of Brahma, while the rest of the 14, a lot of the worlds down disappear, this Dhruva Loka is not going to disappear at the end of the Kalpa of Brahma. And and he says, he goes on to say what's going to happen. He says eventually your father is going to go, you're going to rule the kingdom for 36,000 years. Your brother Uttama is going to meet with is going to get killed. Your other mother is going to die, and then eventually at the end, he said, at the end, you will then samsmarishyasi, I think the word. Samsmarishyasi. Antemam samsmarishyasi. At the end, you will remember me, and then you will come. Now, that's where he says that you will come to my world. Now, that world here is not referring to Vaikuntham. It is referring to, like we said, inside this Brahmandam, there is a Bhagavan who's ruling, responsible for that. Right? So that place is where Dhruva is going to go, which is still not necessarily fully Vaikuntham, from where you cannot come back, but he says you will not have a birth again, though, right? So you will not be born into the material world again, but you will rule over this place called as Dhruvaloka, which already exists, where the Bhagavan in this Brahmandam is there residing, where everybody goes to meet. So when we say Brahma goes to meet, when Indra goes to meet, later in Krishna Avataram, they all go to meet. They go meet that Bhagavan who is in that Shweta Dvipa. That's where he says that's the Dhruva Lokam. He says that's where you will rule over that world. So you're still going to be very close to Bhagavan, but you're not yet getting liberated, right? There's no use of the word liberation here. So that's why. So after Bhagavan leaves here, so then at the time, Maitreya continues saying that even though he got this darshan of Bhagavan, and then Bhagavan left, Dhruva was not satisfied. He was not pleased. And when he's going back home, because now he's met, so now he's ready to go back home, but he says Dhruva is not pleased. So Vidura says, how is that possible? Like this is something people, do Ashtanga yoga, do so many penance, so many births they have to get a darshan of Bhagavan. Dhruva has gotten this darshan of Bhagavan. He's got directly blessed by him. He has got all the knowledge he wants, and he's going to get this Dhruva Lokam as well. Why is Dhruva not pleased? Right? That's the question Vidura asked. Why is he dissatisfied with himself? So for which Maitreya gives a beautiful explanation, saying that when Dhruva first came into this process, he had a couple of things. One, he was very upset about his mother telling him that he cannot sit on his father's lap. He was also upset with his brother Uttama, who he felt was greater than him, who was able to sit in his father's lap. And then he wanted something out of his anger and out of greed. He wanted something bigger than what everybody else has got, which is material in nature. That is how Dhruva started. So that was his state of mind when he started. He's a 5-year-old boy. But the moment he saw Bhagavan, and then he got the blessings, and then he got all the knowledge, when the Bhagavan took the Shankam and touched in his Kapolam, he suddenly realized everything. He came to the ultimate realization of what the truth is. He felt very ashamed, saying, how can I even think of something so inferior? How can I hate Uttama? How can I hate my mother Suruchi? How can I not like my father? How can I want anything which is material in nature? And how can I want something that is material, which is greater than what the other person has? So he's beginning to wonder, saying how like what do you call how low I was in thinking about these things, right? So that's a lamentation Dhruva has, and because he already had it in his mind, Bhagavan gave him that. He told him, you will get the Dhruva Lokam. Now, Dhruva feels, now that I have got all this knowledge and I've seen this Bhagavan, I actually don't even want Dhruva Lokam. I don't even want liberation also. All I want is to be constantly next. Like we said, the greatest devotee is the one who doesn't even want liberation also. He wants to be always in the service of the Lord, always thinking about it, always worshipping and being close to that, which Dhruva did not get right now, right? So although he's going to be ruling over, because he still has to rule over, and that is because of, but now the reason, now the question I was also contemplating is, because it's not quite here, is why would Dhruva not interrupt Narayana and says, okay, now that he's got the knowledge, and Bhagavan is telling, okay, you're going to get Dhruva Lokam. He's like, no, 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 I actually don't want Dhruva Lokam. I know, I just give me liberation or just give me this, right? He could have said that potentially. Now, there's no explanation as to why he didn't say that, but the only inference we can kind of do is at that point, when you are in that situation of Bhagavan standing in front of you, whatever is given to you, you take it. And because that's what you had in your mind and Bhagavan has decided, that's what you are going to get. And that's what you're going to get then. You can't say no to what something that Bhagavan himself is coming and giving to you, right? That's my interpretation of why he didn't say no when Bhagavan offered him that. But here Maitreya is saying that's why Dhruva was still very upset about himself as to how can I be so superfluous and ask for material things, right? Which is like not worth it. Because the Dhruva Lokam also at the end of the day, eventually, he's not going to take birth, but that is still not purely worshipping all the time. He has to do some things, work. So anyway, so that's a lamentation that Dhruva is having as he's walking home, right? So now Uttanapada and everybody comes to know that Dhruva is coming back. So Uttanapada cannot believe that Dhruva is coming because he's left for 5-6 months. But he remembered what Narada had said, which is eventually once he gets what he wants, Dhruva is going to return back. So they all get ready. There's a lot of description of how they really want to give him a very grand welcome. So Uttanapada, Suruchi, Sunuti, Uttama, all of them go, right? They go and they meet Dhruva on the way. And when Uttanapada goes and meets Dhruva, he can see there is a change because the 5-year-old boy who left home 6 months back versus the boy who is coming now, complete transformation. So Uttanapada can absolutely sense that is actually there in Dhruva. And then, Suruchi, the one who told Dhruva to just go. So she now goes, and when Dhruva falls on her feet, she blesses him, saying that, may you live for a really long time. So the one who told Dhruva that you have to go, literally she stopped short of saying you have to die. But she says you have to take another birth and be born in my womb, right? That's what she had said. So she's now feeling, much high about Dhruva. And the same thing for Suniti, his mother, and Uttama. So they all kind of meet. So this kind of says that the moment somebody so transformed, then naturally everybody gets attracted, right? So everybody starts gravitating towards that person, which is what the experience that Suruchi is also having. So anyway, so that kind of goes till a particular point, and the rest of the thing is just how they, a lot of description about how they welcome Dhruva into the kingdom, right? So because Dhruva is coming back, Uttanapada is very happy. So he's like decorated all the kingdoms. So it will talk about all the decorations and everything that they have actually done. Kind of goes till most of this.
So Dhruva
And
specifically, when Bhagavan came by, when Bhagavan appeared in front of him, he didn't specifically ask that he wants something, right? He just
But
got it.
but
But he
he
still
had it in his mind when he started that process.
Yeah, but when Bhagavan came, he didn't ask specifically that he wants something,
Correct.
right? But
Yes.
then he feels that why did I think about it? That also.
Correct. Because when he's meditating, he's doing all this tapas penance for a reason, right? So he's doing the tapas for a reason. And he had that in his mind. That is what he's thinking when he's doing that penance and meditation. Then when he got the darshan of Bhagavan, and then when he was touched by Bhagavan, he's instantly transformed. That's when he's doing the beautiful Dhruva Stuti, which he had no idea about, right? So
Right.
now he's a transformed person. But then there are things that needs to happen. If Dhruva today leaves, all this Vena and Anga and Pitu, all of the other incarnations are not going to happen. Okay, so there's a reason why Dhruva has to stay. There is a reason why Dhruva has to remain. He has to get a family. He's going to have a lineage, and all of those other Kritu Charitram where Bhagavan is going to incorporate, that has to happen, right? Then Dhruva is going to meet Mahabali later. So all of those things, there are things that needs to happen because of which Dhruva has to stay. But after that, he's going to get what he wants, and then eventually he is going to get liberated. He does get liberated afterwards, after a long time, not instantly.
So Bhagavan stopped him, stay there, and then he didn't make him ask more for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is it's difficult, like when you are just right there instantly, and he just accepted it at that point because at that point he's much more spiritually advanced. So he believes that whatever Bhagavan wants, he is going to give it to me. And if that's what he wants me to do, because Bhagavan is saying, you are going to rule for 36,000 years.
Mhm.
Your father is going to give the kingdom. You are going to be the ruler, right? So he's telling, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want to happen. So Dhruva is like, okay, so be it, right? But then he wished he was smart enough ahead of time to think about what he had wanted better. That's all, I mean, that's how we can interpret it, right? So
Rajeshi, one more question. So, why does God talks to him about what will happen to his brother and other things? Is it it was not needed for him to know what's going to come in future, right?
that's because probably a little bit to answer this question of what his next future plans are needs to be. Okay, அது நிறைய lot of places that will happen. When Bhagavan, even for Kardama, he did the same thing, right? When Devahuti and Kardama came, Bhagavan said the same thing. I want you will have 9 daughters, and then I am going to be born, and then I am going to come and teach the Sankhya Yoga with devotion to Devahuti. So sometimes it's like he comes and gives this so you know what your path is, where you need to go, and you don't get distracted from that.
And most of the time when you do all this bhakti yoga and Prahlada, everybody wants to be in serving Perumal, right? Like in this case, he goes to Dhruva Lokam, which is not the same as being with Perumal, right? So
it is because Dhruva Lokam, the Dhruva Lokam here, the Bhagavan says Mama Padam. It says it's my place.
My place, okay, because of the presence of Perumal even there, even though it's a different
so that place is where from the context of this in the context of this Brahmandam, the Perumal is there because Vaikuntham is outside of all the universes which exist, right? But in the context of this universe and this Brahmandam, there's think of it like a local Vaikuntham, if you can refer to it that way, right? So that is that place, Dhruva Lokam.
But Dhruvan is not considered like when it comes to bhakti, right? Like Prahladan is the one who is always
it's different, right? Because Dhruva got it after Bhagavan came. So it's slightly
So
different.
it was more materialistic is what he started with. And then he transformed. That's why he's not in, when you're talking about who is the
greatest
supreme bhakti
devotee,
person, greatest
Prahlada
devotee, there's always Prahladan comes, right? Not Dhruvan.
Both of them are great devotee, absolutely, right? No doubt about it. Like Dhruva is going to live for 36,000 years. So but your point is Prahlada is considered more bhakti because right from the time he was born, he was preached by Narada Muni, which we are going to see later. So he was just in that mode from the time he was born, right? So just a subtle variation there. That's it. Okay, so we'll start. Let me see who I had. Uma, you can be a student, and sorry. Vasu, you can be a student. Then we'll do from 39. Yeah. Sadashwam Ratamaruhya, Kartaswara Parishkritam, Brahmanaih Kula Vriddhaischa, Paryastomatya Bandhubihi. Sadashwam Ratamaruhya, Kartaswara Parishkritam, Brahmanaih Kula Vriddhaischa, Paryastomatya Bandhubihi.
सदश्वं रथमारुह्य कार्तस्वरपरिष्कृतं ब्राह्मणैः कुलवृद्धैश्च पर्यस्तोमात्यबन्धुभिः
अश्वं रथमारुह्य कार्तस्वरपरिष्कृतं ब्राह्मणैस्कुलवृद्धैश्च पर्यस्तोम् आत्य बन्धुभिः.
One word, Paryastomatya.
Paryastomatya bandhubihi.
Shanka Dundhubi Nadena, Brahma Ghoshena Venubihi, Nischakrama Purat Turnam, put a im there, that ma, Next word starts with the A. Atmaja Bhikshanotsukaha, one word. So Shankar, Dundubi, Nadam all refers to the various musical instruments with which they are welcoming Dhruva back right now. So they're welcoming him into the kingdom. Shankar Dundubi Nadena Brahma Ghoshena Venubihi Nischakrama Puraturnam आत्मजाभीक्षणोत्सुकः
शङ्खदुन्दुभिनादेन ब्रह्मघोषेण वेणुभिः निश्चक्रामपुरातूर्णम् आत्मजाभीक्षणोत्सुकः
शङ्खदुन्दुभिनादेन ब्रह्मघोषेण वेणुभिः निश्चक्राम पुरातूर्णम् आत्मजाभीक्षणोत्सुकः
सुनीतिस् सुरुचिश्चास्य महिष्यौ रुक्मभूषिते आरुह्य शिबिकां सार्धं put a im there, next word starts with u उत्तमेनाभिजग्मतुः सुनीतिः सुरुचिश्चास्य महिष्यौ रुक्मभूषिते आरुह्य शिबिकां सार्धम् उत्तमेनाभिजग्मतुः
सुनीतिः सुरुचिश्चास्य महिष्यौ रुक्मभूषिते आरुह्य शिबिकां सार्धम् उत्तमेनाभिजग्मतुः
सुनीतिः सुरुचिश्चास्य महिष्यौ रुक्मभूषिते आरुह्य शिबिकां सार्धम् उत्तमेनाभिजग्मतुः
So this word you may have to make, some books might be different. So my book had drishtopa, but it should be drishtvopa. So it's a it and a va underneath it. So tam drishtvopa vanabhyashe. My book has a sha there, so you have to make it a she. Tam drishtvopa vanabhyashe, ayantam tarasa ratat avaruhya nripasturnam, put a im there, आसाद्य प्रेम विह्वलः तं दृष्ट्वोपवनाभ्यासे आयान्तं तरसा रथात् अवरुह्य नृपस्तूर्णम् आसाद्य प्रेम विह्वलः
तं दृष्ट्वोपवनाभ्यासे आयान्तं तरसा रथात् अवरुह्य नृपस्तूर्णम् आसाद्य प्रेम विह्वलः
दृष्ट्वोपवनाभ्यासे करेक्टा वनाभ्यासे आयन्तं तरसा रथात् अवरुह्य नृपस्तूर्णम् आसाद्य प्रेम विह्वलः.
The first line ayantam, okay, so a sound there.
Okay.
Parirebhengajam, one word, parirebhengajam dorbhyam, दीर्घोत्कण्ठ मनाश्वसन् विश्वक्सेनाङ्घ्रि संस्पर्श put a plus हताशेषाघ बन्धनम. The second line is continuous. परिरेभेङ्गजं दोर्भ्यां दीर्घोत्कण्ठमनाश्वसन् विश्वक्सेनाङ्घ्रि संस्पर्श हताशेषाघ बन्धनम.
परिरेभेङ्गजं दोर्भ्यां दीर्घोत्कण्ठमनाश्वसन् विश्वक्सेनाङ्घ्रिसंस्पर्श हताशेषाघबन्धनम्
परिरेभेङ्गजं दोर्भ्यं दीर्घोत्कण्ठमनाश्वसं विश्वक्सेनाङ्घ्रि संस्पर्श हताशेषाघबन्धनम्.
अथा जिघ्रन् मुहुर्मूर्ध्नि, शीतैर्नयन वारिभिः स्नापयामास तनयं, जातोद्दाम मनोरथः. अथा जिघ्रन् मुहुर्मूर्ध्नि शीतैर्नयन वारिभिः स्नापयामास तनयं जातोद्दाम मनोरथः.
अथा जिघ्रन् मुहुर्मूर्ध्नि शीतैर्नयनवारिभिः स्नापयामास तनयं जातोद्दाममनोरथः.
अथा जिघ्रन् मुहुर्मूर्ध्नि शीतैर्नयनवारिभिः स्नापयामास तनयं जातोद्दाममनोरथः.
अभिवन्द्य पितुः पादौ, you will have pada va, that we're just breaking that sandhi there. So it becomes padau, comma. Next word starts with the a. Ashirbhish chabi mantritah. Sorry. One second. Is it Ashibir or Ashib? I have Ashir.
என்னோடது வந்து
இதுல வந்து
ஆஷி
ஆஷின்னு
ஆஷி
தான்
இருக்கு.
இருக்கு.
Ashir, that's what I thought. Yeah. Ashirbhish chabi mantritah. Nanama matarau shirshna, comma. Satkritas sach janagranihi. Abhivandhi.
ஜனாகிரணிஹிய சஜ் ஜனாகன கிரணி.
Satkritas is because there's a visarga there. Sach janagranihi.
திருப்பி ஒரே சாரி எனக்கு சரியா காதுல உள்ள.
Okay, Satkritaha is there, so there's a is to join that word.
அது
Satkritas saj janagranihi.
ஓகே சஜ் ஓகே பர்ஃபெக்ட்.
Abhivandhya pituh padhau ashirbhischabhimantritah nanama matarau shirshna Satkrtas saj janagranihi.
अभिवन्द्य पितुः पादौ आशीर्भिश्चाभिमन्त्रितः न नाम मातरौ शीर्ष्णा सत्कृतः सज्जनाग्रणीः
विवन्द्य पितुः पादौ आशीर्भिश्चाभि मन्त्रितः न नाम मातरौ शीष्णा सत्कृतः सज् जनाग्रणीः.
Turuchistam samuthapya, comma, padavanatam arbhakam, breaking at that ma, parishvajyah jiveti, comma, bashva gadgadaya gira. Suruchistam samuthapya padavanatam arbhakam parishvajyah jiveti bashva gadgadaya gira.
सुरुचिस्तं समुत्थाप्य पादावनतमर्भकं परिष्वज्याह जीवेति बाष्पगद्गदया गिरा
चिस्तं समुत्थाप्य पाद கேக்குறதா?
கேக்குறதா?
சுருச்சிஸ்தம் சமுத்தாப்ய பாதாவனதம் அர்பகம் பரிஷ்வஜ்யாஹ ஜீவேதி பாஷ்பகத்கதயா கிரா.
Yasya prasanno bhagavan, comma, gunair maitriadibhir harihi tasmai namanti bhutani, comma, nimnamapa iva swayam. Like I said, this is where, because Suruchi is also now appreciating, it says it's because now he has been touched by Bhagavan, who has this devotion. Naturally, everybody offers honor, to such a person, which is what who Bhagavan is pleased with. Yasya prasanno bhagavan gunair maitriadibhir harihi tasmai namanti bhutani nimnamapa iva swayam.
यस्य प्रसन्नो भगवान् गुणैर्मैत्र्यादिभिर्हरिः तस्मै नमन्ति भूतानि निम्नमाप इव स्वयम्
प्रसन्नो भगवान् गुणैर्मैत्र्यादिभिर्हरिः तस्मै नमन्ति भूतानि निम्नमाप इव स्वयम्.
Uttamascha dhruvash chobhau, same thing, that va that is there, it's going to go away. Dhruvash chobhau, comma, next word starts with the a. Anyonyam prema vihvalau anga sangat utpulakau, same logic, the va goes away. Utpulakau, comma, asraugham muhuruhatuhu. Uttamascha dhruvaschobhau anyonyam prema vihvalau angasangat utpulakau asraugham muhuruhatuhu.
उत्तमश्च ध्रुवश्चौभौ अन्योन्यं प्रेम विह्वलौ अंगसंगादुत्पुलकौ अस्रौघं मुहुरुहतुः
तमश्च ध्रुवश्चोभौ अन्योऽयं प्रेम विह्वलौ अङ्गसङ्गात् उत्पुलकौ अश्रौघं मुहुरुहतुः.
Yeah, and the ru mattum long, everything is small. Muhuruhatuhu.
Muhuruhatuhu, correct?
Yeah. सुनीतिरस्य जननी, प्राणेभ्योऽपि प्रियं सुतम् उपगुह्य जहावाधिं, तदंग sparsha nirvrita. So just talking about how each one is coming and interacting and welcoming Dhruva. Suniti, Surichi, Uttama, Uttanapada, all of them. Sunhitirasya janani pranebhyopi priyam sutam upaguhya jahavadhim tadanga sparsha nirvrita.
सुनीतिरस्य जननी प्राणेभ्योऽपि प्रियं सुतम् उपगुह्य जहावाधिं निर्वृता
नीतिरस्य जननी प्राणेभ्योऽपि प्रियं सुतम् उपगुह्य जहावाधिं तदङ्गस्पर्शनिर्वृता
Payas sthanabhyam susrava, नेत्रजैस् सलिलैश् शिवैः तथाभिषिच्यमानाभ्यां, that's one word, cannot break it, तथाभिषिच्यमानाभ्यां, वीर वीरसुवो मुहुः. पयस्तनाभ्यां सुस्राव नेत्रजैः सलिलैः शिवैः तथाभिषिच्यमानाभ्यां वीर वीरसुवो मुहुः.
पयस्तनाभ्यां सुस्राव नेत्रजैः सलिलैः शिवैः तदाभिषिच्यमानाभ्यां वीरवीरसुवो मुहुः
यस्नाभ्यां शुश्राव नेत्रजैः सलिलैः शिवैः तथाभिषिच्यमानाभ्यां वीर वीरसुवोमुहुः
तां शशंसुर्जना राज्ञीं, दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो, रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः. तां शशंसुर्जना राज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो, रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः.
तां शशंसुर्जना राज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः
तां शशंसुर्जना राज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः.
अभ्यर्चितस्त्वया नूनं, भगवान् प्रणतार्तिः यत् अनुध्यायिनो, I'm just breaking at that da there, यत् अनुध्यायिनो धीराः, add a visarga there, धीराः, मृत्युं जिज्ञुस् सुदुर्जयम्. अभ्यर्चितस्त्वया नूनं भगवान् प्रणतार्तिः यदनुध्यायिनो धीराः मृत्युं जिज्ञुस् सुदुर्जयम्.
अभ्यर्चितस्त्वया नूनं भगवान् प्रणतार्तिः यदनुध्यायिनो धीराः मृत्युं जिज्ञुः सुदुर्जयम्
अभ्यर्चितस्त्वया नूनं भगवान् प्रणतार्तिः यद् अनुध्यायिनो धीराः मृत्युं जिज्ञुः सुदुर्जयम्.
लाल्यमानं जनैरेवं, ध्रुवं स भ्रातरं नृपः आरोप्य कर्णीं हृष्टः, स्तूयमानो विशत्पुरम्. लाल्यमानं जनैरेवं ध्रुवं स भ्रातरं नृपः आरोप्य कर्णीं हृष्टः स्तूयमानो विशत्पुरम्.
लाल्यमानं जनैरेवं ध्रुवं सभ्रातरं नृपः आरोप्य करिणीं हृष्टः स्तूयमानो विशत्पुरम्.
लाल्यमानं जनैरेवं ध्रुवं स भ्रातरं नृपः आरोप्य करिणीं हृष्टः स्तूयमानो विशत्पुरम्.
तत्र तत्रोपसंक्लुप्तैः, visarga comma संक्लुप्तैः. Next, that on top of that la, if you have a ir or ra, that goes away. Lasan makara thoranaihi savrindaih kadali stambhaihi, पूगपोतैश्च तद्विधैः तत्र तत्रोपसंक्लृप्तैः लसन्मकरतोरणैः सवृन्दैः कदलीस्तम्भैः पूगपोतैश्च तद्विधैः
तत्र तत्रोपसंक्लिप्तैः लसन्मकरतोरणैः सवृन्दैः कदलीस्तम्भैः पूगपोतैश्च तद्विधैः
तत्रोपसंक्लिप्तैः लसन्मकरतोरणैः सवृन्दैः कदलीस्तम्भैः पूगपोटैश्च तद्विधैः.
We'll switch on. Atte, if you're there, you can be student, and Anandji, you can be student.
Okay.
So the next set of stanzas, from like 53 to about like 10 stanzas, just talks about all the decorations they have actually done. So all of these words, Kadali Stambham, all the pieces, everything that they have erected to welcome Dhruva, because everybody is happy that he's actually coming back. So they are doing a very grand welcome to Dhruva, which is kind of pretty much the description next several stanzas. Chuta Pallava Vasa Srang, ing sound, srang, comma, मुक्तादाम विलंभिभिः उपस्कृतं प्रतिद्वारं ब्रेकिंग एट दैट मा कॉमा अपाम कुंभैः सदीपकैः कुंभम दीपम all of them is lit चूतपल्लववासस्रं मुक्तादाम विलंभिभिः उपस्कृतं प्रतिद्वारं अपाम कुंभैः सदीपकैः
चूतपल्लववासस्रं मुक्ताधाम विलम्भिभिः उपस्कृतं प्रतिद्वारम् अपाङ्कुम्भे सदीपकैः
च्यूतपल्लववाससंस्रग् मुक्तादाम विलम्बिभिः उपस्कृतं प्रतिद्वारम् अपां कुम्भैः सदीपकैः.
So I was going to ask, that does it become a ik, and then later it becomes a ma because ma is im, because ma is coming later, ing. So we should just say it as srak then.
In the line?
On the line, the first line la, and the ing one is it originally ik, but then becomes a ing because ma is coming later.
ஸ்ரக்னு சொல்ல
இல்ல, I'm asking you because இது வந்து என்னோட வந்து ing தான் இருக்கு, srang தான் இருக்கு.
ஸ்ரங் இருக்கு.
But you said ik, so I'm wondering we should say it as a ik because of that reason.
Okay, அது வந்து ஸ்ரக் பிளஸ் முக்தாங்கறனால அது அப்படி சொல்லிட்டேன் நான். Okay.
But I know, but is
Raj,
ing,
how
is
should
ing
we
okay?
say it?
Yeah, is ing still okay is my question. I learned it as ing, so
இங்கதான் அதாவது அந்த மா வரதுனால இங்க ஆயிடுது.
okay.
Okay.
So srang, so just we keep it as ing only, srang muktadama vilambihi.
Okay. திருப்பி சொல்லவா?
No, that's okay. You got it. Yeah.
च्यूत पल्लव वासस्रग् स्रं मुक्तादाम विलम्बिभिः उपस्कृतं प्रतिद्वारम् अपां कुम्भैः सदीपकैः.
प्राकारैर् गोपुरागारैः, शात कुंभ परिच्छदैः सर्वतोलंकृतं श्रीमत्. So that dvi you have, so my book had an extra va, so that is wrong. So it should be Shrimat. It becomes a it sound, comma, Vimana Shikaradhyubihi. So in case you all have an extra va, just remove it. Otherwise, you're okay. Vimana Shikaradhyubihi. Prakareir Gopuragareihi Shata Kumbha Parichadaihi Sarvatolankritam Shrimat Vimana Shikaradhyubihi.
प्राकार्यर्गोपुरागारैः शातकुम्भपरिच्छदैः सर्वतोऽलङ्कृतं श्रीमद् विमानशिखरद्युभिः.
प्राकारैर्गोपुरागारैः शातकुम्भपरिच्छदैः सर्वतोऽलङ्कृतं श्रीमद् विमानशिखरद्युभिः.
मृष्ट चत्वर रत्याट, double ta, put a plus. Margam Chandana Charchitam, so that line is together. Lajakshataif Pushpa Phalaihi is goes away, Visarga comma. Tundalair Balibhir Yutam. Mrishta Chatvara Ratyata Margam Chandana Charchitam. Lajakshataif Pushpa Phalaihi Tundalair Balibhir Yutam. Tandulai, my bad. Yeah.
मृष्टचत्वरध्याटमार्गं चन्दनचर्चितं लाजाक्षते पुष्पबलैः तण्डुलेर्बिलिबिर्युतम्
मृष्टचत्वररथ्याटमार्गं चन्दनचर्चितं लाजाक्षतैः पुष्पफलैः तण्डुलैर्बलिभिर्युतम्
ध्रुवाय पतिदृष्टाय, तत्र तत्र पुरस्त्रियः सिद्धार्थाक्षत, one word, siddharthakshata dadyambu, put a plus. So that bu is a short u, then durva long u, durva pushpa phalanicha. Second line together. Dhruvaya patidrishtaya tatra tatra purastriyah siddharthakshata dadyambu durva pushpa phalanicha.
ध्रुवाय पतिदृष्टाय तत्र तत्र पुरस्त्रियः सिद्धार्थशतदध्यम्बूर्वा पुष्पबलानि च
ध्रुवाय पतिदृष्टाय तत्र तत्र पुरस्त्रियः सिद्धार्थाक्षतदध्यम्बूर्वा पुष्पफलानि च
उपजह्रुः prayunjana, in sound, prayunjana, vatsalyat, I'm just breaking at the da if you want, vatsalyat ashishas satihi shrinvans tadvalgu geetani, pravishad bhavanam pituhu. Upajahruh prayunjana vatsalyat ashishas satihi shrinvans tadvalgu geetani pravishad bhavanam pituhu.
उपजह्रु प्रयुज्ञान वात्सल्यादाशिषः सदिः शृण्वंस्तद्वल्गु गीतानि प्राविशद्भवनं पितुः
Satihi, first line is a long e, okay? So Satihi, just a little bit stretch there.
Oh, Satihi. Ashishah Satihi. Thank you, Rajesh.
उपजह्रु प्रयुञ्जान वात्सल्यादाशिषः सतीः शृण्वंस्तद्वल्गु गीतानि प्राविशत् भवनं पितुः
Mahamani Vratamaye, स तस्मिन् भवनोत्तमे लालितो नितरां पित्रा, न्यवसत् दिवि देववत्. महामणिव्रातमये स तस्मिन् भवनोत्तमे लालितो नितरां पित्रा, न्यवसत् दिवि देववत्.
महामणिव्रातमये स तस्मिन् भवनोत्तमे लालितो नितरां पित्रा न्यवसद्दिवि देववत्
महामणिव्रातमये स तस्मिन् भवनोत्तमे लालितो नितरां पित्रा न्यवसद्दिवि देववत्
पयः फेन निभाशय्या, दान्ता रुक्म परिच्छदाः आसनानि महार्हाणि, यत्र रौप्मा उपस्कराः. पयः फेन निभाशय्या दान्ता रुक्म परिच्छदाः आसनानि महार्हाणि, यत्र रौप्मा उपस्कराः.
भयप्येनानि भाषय्य दान्दारुक्मपरिच्छदाः आसनानि महार्हाणि यत्र रौक्मा उपस्कराः
पयप्येन निभाषय्या दान्ता रुक्मपरिच्छदाः आसनानि महार्हाणि यत्र रौक्मा उपस्कराः
यत्र स्फटिक कुड्येषु, महामारकतेषु च मणि प्रदीपा आभान्ति, ललना रत्न संयुताः. यत्र स्फटिक कुड्येषु महामारकतेषु च मणि प्रदीपा आभान्ति, ललना रत्न संयुताः.
यत्र स्फटिककुड्येषु महामारकतेषु च मणिप्रदीप आभान्ति ललनारत्नसंयुताः
यत्र स्फटिककुड्येषु महामारकतेषु च मणिप्रदीप आभाति ललनारत्नसंयुताः
उद्यानानि च रम्याणि, विचित्रैर्, ब्रेकिंग at the top, विचित्रैर् अमर द्रुमैः कूजत् विहंग mithunaihi, put a visarga comma, mithunaihi. Next word ir goes away. Gayan matta madhu vrataihi. Udhyanani charamyani vichitrair amaradrumaihi kujat vihanga mithunaihi gayan matta madhu vrataihi.
उद्यानानि च रम्याणि विचित्रे अमरद्रुमैः कूजद्विहङ्गविदिनैः गायन्मत्तमधुव्रतैः
उद्यानानि च रम्याणि विचित्रैरमरद्रुमैः कूजद्विहङ्गमिथुनैः गायन्मत्तमधुव्रतैः
वाप्यो वैदूर्य सोपानाः कॉमा पद्मोत्पल कुमुद्वतीः हंस कारण्डव कुलैः विसर्गा कॉमा. Next line ir goes away. जुष्टाश् चक्राह्व सारसैः. वाप्यो वैदूर्य सोपानाः पद्मोत्पल कुमुद्वतीः हंस कारण्डव कुलैः जुष्टाश्चक्राह्व सारसैः.
वाप्यो वैढूर्यसोपानाः पद्मोत्पलकुमद्युतिः हंसकारण्डवकुलैः जुष्टाश्चक्राह्वसारसैः.
Two things, Anandji, there.
Yeah.
And the second word is vai. It's a da sound. It is vaiduriam, but the Sanskrit version is vaiduriam. So it's a da.
Vaidhuriam. Okay.
Yeah, there. And then the last word of the first line is kumudvatihi. Usam.
Kumudvatihi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rajesh.
वाप्यो वैदूर्यसोपानाः पद्मोत्पलकुमुद्वतीः हंसकारण्डवकुलैः जुष्टाश्चक्राह्वसारसैः सारसैः.
So I think that maybe at some point in the local translation, that Vaiduriam might have become Vaiduriam, because nowadays people say it's Vaiduriam, but wherever it comes in Sanskrit, the da is used. Even in the description of Krishna, Vaiduriam only it's said, right? So maybe some translation, the da became a da at some point. Uttanapado Rajarshihi, Prabhavam Tanayasyatam Shrutva Drishtvaadbhuta Tamam. So Drishtvaadbhuta Tamam, Prapede Vismayam Param. Uttanapado Rajarshihi Prabhavam Tanayasyatam Shrutva Drishtvaadbhuta Tamam Prapede Vismayam Param.
उत्तानपादो राजर्षिः प्रभावं तनयस्यतं श्रुत्वा दृष्टाद्भुततमं प्रपेदे विस्मयं परम्.
उत्तानपादो राजर्षिः प्रभावं तनयस्य तं श्रुत्वा दृष्ट्वाद्भुततमं प्रपेदे विस्मयं परम्.
वीक्ष्योढ वयसं तं च प्रकृतीनां च सम्मतम् अनुरक्त प्रजं राजा ध्रुवं चक्रे भुवः पतिम्. वीक्ष्योढ वयसं तं च प्रकृतीनां च सम्मतम् अनुरक्त प्रजं राजा ध्रुवं चक्रे भुवः पतिम्.
विषोढ्यवयसं तं च प्रकृतीनां च सम्मतम् अनुरुक्तप्रजं राजा ध्रुवं चक्रे भुवः पतिम्.
विक्षोढवयसं तं च प्रकृतीनां च सम्मतम् अनुरक्तप्रजं राजा ध्रुवं चक्रे भुवः पतिम्.
आत्मानं च प्रवयसं, ब्रेकिंग एट दैट मा, आकलय्य विशाम्पतिः वनं विरक्तः प्रातिष्ठत्, बिमृशन्नात्मनो गतिम्. आत्मानं च प्रवयसम् आकलय्य विशाम्पतिः वनं विरक्तः प्रातिष्ठत् विमृशन्नात्मनो गतिम्.
आत्मानं च प्रवयसम् आकलय्य विशाम्पतिः वनं विरक्तप्रातिष्ठत् विमर्शन्नात्मनो गतिम्.
आत्मानं च प्रवयसम् आकलय्य विशाम्पतिः वनं विरक्तप्रातिष्ठत् विमृशन्नात्मनो गतिम्.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे ध्रुव राज्याभिषेक वर्णनं नाम 9मोऽध्यायः.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे ध्रुवराज्याभिषेकवर्णनं नाम नवमोऽध्यायः।
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे ध्रुवराज्याभिषेकवर्णनं नाम नवमोऽध्यायः.
Let me just finish up the meaning of this chapter, right? So, like we said, a
Rajesh,
lot of
can I
the
ask something quickly? So
Yeah,
in this chapter and several other places, it says 36,000 years he ruled. Like Prajadas did tapasa for 10,000 years. Does it mean they came back in different lives for that much period of time, or they really lived 36,000 years?
the assumption, there's no saying anywhere else that they came back or things like that. So because in the Satya Yuga, like for us right now, it's 432,000 years is Kali Yuga, right? Satya Yuga is 4 times that. So 432 times 4 is Satya Yuga. So the lifespan was significantly longer. Now, it's a valid question, 36,000, right? So I don't think there's any other reference to say one way or the other
Okay.
in that. Okay, because he's Dhruva stays. Dhruva comes even when Mahabali Vamana Avataram is happening. Dhruva comes. So now I don't know if Dhruva was ruling in the Dhruva Lokam at the time or he was here. We don't know that. That level of specificity is not there. So I don't know either.
Okay. In what yugam is this happening now?
This is all happening in the first.
Satyaloka.
Satya Yugam, Treta Yugam, Satya Yugam. It's all happening in the first Yugam still. Because he's still Swayambhuva Manu's lineage is there in the first Yugam. Is there. But it's all, remember, we said it is all still happening on the first day of the 51st year of Brahma. That Kalpa is that. But in that Kalpa, the first Manu's Satya Yugam. Because the Manu spans multiple Yugams. So in the first Swayambhuva Manu's Satya Yugam is when all this is happening right now. Then it is going to change, but. So like we said, majority of this is little bit kind of description of welcoming because Dhruva is coming. So it was all streets and all you saw about that, Pandalam, all of that state was said, right? Then Dhruva comes. Now there's about 10 stanza description of the luxury life of Uttanapada and Dhruva. And they're kind of saying that for a specific reason, right? So it talks, I'll tell you why. So it talks about how his palace has Spatikam, it has Maha Marakam, money, all of that, right? Then Vaiduriam. So it had all of the splendor. They were just extremely rich. It talked about the luxury of the bed that Uttanapada and Dhruva had. And it just goes on in a lot of descriptions about that. But the point they're trying to say is at some point, Uttanapada came to a decision that it's time for him to leave. Right? Now, how do you leave so much luxury and leave, right? So he says, but that is the point, right? Is you should always at some point, when the Varnashrama system in the 4 levels of it, you at some point you have to leave everything you have when you believe that your child or is ready to take over. So in this case, and we're going to see later on when Anga Vena, that episode comes, the father is going to quit and go for a different purpose. But here, the Dhruva Uttanapada feels that Dhruva is ready at some point in the future. You don't know exactly at what age. At some point in the future, Uttanapada feels that Dhruva is ready to take over. So he then renounces everything that he actually has. And he also made sure, which is going to be the consistent story, that even the people like him, the ministers, everybody feels that he is the right person to take over this thing. And when he felt that appropriate transition is there, then he quits, Uttanapada quits everything, just like how Swayambhuva Manu did, because they're all in the same lineage, right? So he also, similar to Swayambhuva Manu, quit everything, detached himself from all these material desires, made Dhruva the king at this point, and then he ends up going to the forest. So that's the end of the story of Uttanapada. That's why he says Rajya Abhishekam. Although there's no description of an actual Rajya Abhishekam being performed, it is said that he is made the king. Dhruva is made the king, and then he then rules over that place. Okay, so we'll start with the next one. We'll switch the last 15-17 minutes. Aarti, you can be a student, and Meera, how do you want today? Yeah, okay. So Meera, you can be a student. Yeah, Aarti and Meera. Ata Dashamodhyaya. This also continues with the Dhruva Charitram. So now it's like a little bit, you have to fast forward. Now, and I'll tell you the meaning in the next class, but you can see some of the things about Dhruva is going to get married. It'll talk about who his wives are, who his children are. Uttama is going to go to the forest, like how Bhagavan had said, he's going to go hunting, he's going to die. his mother Suruchi is also going to pass away. Then Dhruva is going to go, and then there is a battle that he's going to do with the Yakshas, which is pretty much this whole chapter is just, it's a small chapter, but the whole chapter is pretty much the battle that Dhruva is going to do with the Yakshas, which will only get over in the 11th chapter. Maitreya Vacha Prajapater Duhitaram, Shishumarasya Vaidhruvaha Upayeme Brahmin Nama, Tat Sutau Kalpavatsarau. Maitreya Vacha Prajapater Duhitaram Shishumarasya Vaidhruvaha Upayeme Brahmin Nama Tat Sutau Kalpavatsarau.
Maitreya Uvacha Prajapaterduhitaram Shishumarasya Vaidhruvaha Upayeme Brahmim Nama Tatsutau Kalpavatsarau.
Maitreya Uvacha Prajapaterduhitaram Shishumarasya Vaidhruvaha Upayeme Brahmim Nama Tatsutau Kalpavatsarau.
Some of these I'll tell the meaning right away. So first person he gets two wives. The first wife he marries is a Prajapati whose name is Shishumara. Nothing to do with the Shishumara constellation, which is going to come later. Nothing to do with it. It's just a person by Prajapati by name Shishumara. His daughter called as Brahmi. So Dhruva marries Brahmi and they get two sons, Sutau. Sutau is boys. Kalpa and Vatsara. So two boys they get from that. Maitreya Vacha, Ilayam api bharyayam, Vayof putriam mahabalaha, Putram utkala namanam, Yaushit ratnam ajijanat. You can break it at the dra, it's easier. Yaushit ratnam ajijanat. So second one, another wife called Ila. So Ilayam api bharyayam, another wife called Ila, who was the daughter of the Vayu, so of the demigod Vayu, his daughter Ila. So Dhruva marries, and they then have a son called as Utkala, and then another daughter. They have not named the daughter here. So two children from that.
இதுல வந்து செகண்ட் லைன்ல யோஷித் ரத்னம் அஜித் நீங்க வேற ஏதோ சொன்னீங்க.
Yaushit Ratnam. And the dra இருக்கும், அந்த dra I just broke it into a it and a ra for easiness.
ராஜேஷ் எனக்கு யோ போட்டிருக்கு, நாட் யவ்.
எல்லாருக்குமே யோ தான் இருக்கு.
யோதா இருக்கு, யோஷித்னு இருக்கு.
யோஷித்.
எனக்கு யோஷித் தான் இருக்கு.
தமிழ்ல யவ் தான்
எனக்கு யோஷித் தான் இருக்கு.
Yeah, let me just check one second, okay? I'll check another reference.
யோ பிராக்கெட்ல போட்டிருக்கு. யௌஷித் யோங்கிறது இதுல parenthesis, within parenthesis.
Oh, okay. So maybe both are correct and yav is the difference. Okay. So yeah, so we'll just stick with yav for consistency. I don't think probably doesn't change the meaning then. Ilayam api bharyayam vayof putrya mahabalah putram utkalanamanam yaushit ratnamajijanate.
Ilayamapi bharyayam vayof putrya mahabalah putram utkalanamanam yaushidratnam ajijanat.
Ilayamapi bharyayam vayof putrya mahabalah putram utkalanamanam yaushidratnam ajijanat.
He's saying that the daughter is like a jewel. The Yoshit or Yoshit here refers to female. It was a ratna, it was a jewel of a daughter. Uttamas tvakritodvaho, mrigayayam baliyasa, hataf punya janenadrau, tan matasya gatim gata. Uttamas tvakritodvaho, mrigayayam baliyasa, hataf punya janenadrau, tan matasya gatim gata.
Uttamastvakruto dvaho mrigayayam baliyasa hataf punya janena drau tan matasya gatim gata.
Uttamastvakritodvaho mrigayayam baliyasa hataf punya janena drau tan matasya gatim gata.
Dhruvo bhratru vadam shrutva, kopamarsha shucharpitaha, jaitram syandhanam asthaya, you can break it that now if you want, syandhanam asthaya, gataf punya janalayam. ध्रुवो भ्रातृवधं श्रुत्वा कोपामर्षशुचार्पितः जैत्रं स्यन्धनमास्थाय गतः पुण्यजनालयम्
ध्रुवो भ्रातृवधं श्रुत्वा कोपामर्षशुचार्पितः जैत्रं स्यन्दनमास्थाय गतः पुण्यजनालयम्
ध्रुवो भ्रातृवधं श्रुत्वा कोपामर्षशुचार्पितः जैत्रं स्यन्दनमास्थाय गतः पुण्यजनालयम्
गत्वोदीचीं दिशं राजा रुद्रानुचर सेवितां ददर्श हिमवद् द्रोण्यां पुरीं गुह्यक संकुलाम् गत्वोदीचीं दिशं राजा रुद्रानुचर सेवितां ददर्श हिमवद् द्रोण्यां पुरीं गुह्यक संकुलाम्
गत्वोदीचीं दिशं राजा रुद्रानुचरसेवितां ददर्श द्रोण्यां पुरीं गुह्यकसङ्कुलाम्
गत्वोदीचीं दिशं राजा रुद्रानुचरसेवितां ददर्श हिमवद्द्रोण्यां पुरीं गुह्यकसङ्कुलाम्
तद्मौ शङ्कं बृहत् बाहुः तं दिशश्चानुनादयन् येनोद्विग्न दृशः, you have to say that visarga there, yenodvigna drishah kshattah. So the ru that is there, first put a visarga comma kshattah. Next word starts with the u. Upadebhyo trasan brisham. Dadmau shankam brihad bahuhu kham dishashchanunadayan yenodvigna drishah kshattah. Upadebhyo trasan brisham.
दद्मौ शङ्खं बृहद्बाहुः खं दिशश्चानुनादयन् येनोद्विग्नदृशः क्षत्तः उपदेव्योऽत्रसन् भृशम्
दध्मौ शङ्कं बृहद्बाहुः खं दिशश्चानुनादयन् येनोद्विग्नदृशः क्षत्तः उपदेव्योऽत्र सन्भृशम्
ततो निष्क्रम्य बलिन उपदेव महाभटाः असहन्तस्तन्निनादं break that in the तन्निनादं अभिपेतुर उदायुधाः ततो निष्क्रम्य बलिन उपदेव महाभटाः असहन्तस्तन्निनादं अभिपेतुर उदायुधाः
ततो निष्क्रम्य बलिन उपदेव महाभटाः असहन्तस्तन्निनादम् अबिभेतुरुदायुधाः
ततो निष्क्रम्य बलिन उपदेव महाभटाः असहन्तस्तन्निनादम् अभिपेतुरुदायुधाः
स तानापततो वीरः, so add a visarga there, वीरः उग्र धन्वा महारथः एकैकं युगपत् सर्वान्, breaking at that na, next word ahन बाणैस् त्रिभिस् त्रिभिः, so is and tra there. सतानापततो वीरः उग्र धन्वा महारथः एकैकं युगपत् सर्वान् अहं बाणैस्त्रिभिस्त्रिभिः.
सतानापततो वीरः उग्रधन्वा महारथः एकैकं युगपत् सर्वान् अहन् बाणैस्त्रिभिस्त्रिभिः.
सतानापततो वीरः उग्रधन्वा महारथः एकैकं युगपत् सर्वान् अहन् बाणैस्त्रिभिस्त्रिभिः.
ए वै ललाट लग्नैः इस्कोसवे विसर्ग कामा तैर् इषुभिस् सर्व एव हि मत्वा निरस्तम आत्मानं, breaking at both those ma, निरस्तम आत्मानं comma, next word starts with आशंसन कर्म तस्य तत् ते वै ललाट लग्नैः तैरिषुभिः सर्व एव हि मत्वा निरस्तमात्मानम् आशंसन् कर्म तस्य तत्
ते वै ललाटलग्नैः तैरिषुभिः सर्व एव हि मत्वा निरस्तमात्मानम् अशंसन् कर्म तस्य तत्
the last word आशंसन्
कर्म तस्य तत्
ते वै ललाटलग्नैः तैरिषुभिः सर्व एव हि मत्वा निरस्तमात्मानम् आशंसन् कर्म तस्य तत्
तेऽपि चामुम् अमृष्यन्तः पादस्पर्शम् इवोरगाः शरैर् ब्रेकिंग at the ra शरैर् अविध्यन् युगपद् द्विगुणं प्रचिकीर्षवः तेऽपि चामुम् अमृष्यन्तः पादस्पर्शमिवोरगाः शरैरविध्यन् युगपद् द्विगुणं प्रचिकीर्षवः
तेऽपि चामुम् अमृष्यन्तः पादस्पर्शमिवोरगाः शरैरभिद्यन् युगपत् द्विगुणं प्रचिकीर्षवः
तेऽपि चामुम् अमृष्यन्तः पादस्पर्शमिवोरगाः शरैरविध्यन् युगपद् द्विगुणं प्रचिकीर्षवः
ततः परिग निस्त्रिंशैः प्रासशूलपरश्वधैः शक्तृष्टिभिर्. So I think for people in Devi Mahatmyam, we should remember this comes in when the battle in the second chapter in the battle with the army of Mahishasura. It says Kabandhaschinna Sirasha Khadga Shaktrishti Panayah. That same Shaktrishti B. The Shakti is a combination of Shakti and Rishti Bhi, two types of weapons, is essentially what it is. When the battle is going, that's what they're describing here. So Shaktrishti Bhushundi Bihi, which is another, which also comes in the Devi Mahatmyam, same weapon. Visarga, comma, ish goes away after that. Bhushundi bihi, ish, visarga, comma. Chitra vajaish sharairapi. Tataf pariganistrim shaihi, prasa shula parashvadhaihi, shaktrishtemher bhushundi bihi, chitra vajaish sharairapi.
ततः परिगनिस्त्रिंशैः प्रासशूलपरश्वदैः शत्रुष्टिभिर्भुषुण्डिभिः चित्रवाजैः शरैरपि
Arti, and the second line, Bhushundi, long, Bhushundi bihi.
Yeah.
ततः परिघनिस्त्रिंशैः प्रासशूलपरश्वधैः शत्रुष्टिभिर्भुषुण्डीभिः चित्रवाचैः शरैरपि
अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकुपिताः सरतं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतीकर्तुं ब्रेकिंग at that im कर्तुम् आयुतानि त्रयोदश अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकुपिताः सरतं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतीकर्तुम् आयुतानि त्रयोदश
अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकुपिताः सरथं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतीकर्तुम् अयुतानि त्रयोदशः दश कड़े
अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकुपिताः सरथं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतीकर्तुम् अयुतानि त्रयोदश
औत्तानपादिस् स तदा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना न उपादृश् यतच्छन्नः. So add a visarga there, छन्नः, आसारेण यथा गिरिः. औत्तानपादिः स तथा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना न उपादृश् यतच्छन्नः आसारेण यथा गिरिः.
औत्तानपादिस्तथा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिणा न उपादृश्यतच्छन्नः आसारेण यथा गिरिः.
औत्तानपादिस्तदा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिणा न उपादृश्यतच्छन्नः आसारेण यथा गिरिः
हाहाकारस्तदैवासीत् सिद्धानां दिवि पश्यतां हतोऽयं मानवः सूर्यो मग्नः पुण्यजनार्णवे हाहाकारस्तथैवासीत् सिद्धानां दिवि पश्यतां हतोऽयं मानवः सूर्यो मग्नः पुण्यजनार्णवे
हाहाकारस्तदैवासीत् सिद्धानां दिवि पश्यतां हतोऽयं मानवः सूर्यो मग्नः पुण्यजनार्णवे
हाहाकारस्तदैवासीत् सिद्धानां दिवि पश्यतां हतोऽयं मानवः सूर्यो मग्नः पुण्यजनार्णवे
नदत्सु यातु धानेषु जय काशिष्वथो मृधे उदतिष्ठत् रथस् ब्रेकिंग at the dra उदतिष्ठत् रथस्तस्य नीहारादिव भास्करः नदत्सु यातु धानेषु जय काशिष्वतो मृधे उदतिष्ठत् रथस्तस्य नीहारादिव भास्करः
नदत्सु यातु दानेषु जयकाशिष्वथो मृधे उददिष्टत् रथस्तस्य नीहारादिव भास्करः
नदत्सु यातु धानेषु जयकाशिष्वथो मृधे उदतिष्ठत् रथस्तस्य नीहारादिव भास्करः
more and stop धनुर् विस्फूर्जयन् दिव्यं द्विषतां खेदम् उद्वहन् अस्त्रौघं व्यदमत् बाणैः विसर्ग बाणैः घनानीकम् इवानिलः धनुर्विस्फूर्जयन् दिव्यं द्विषतां खेदमुद्वहन् अस्त्रौघं व्यदमत् बाणैः घनानीकमिवानिलः
धनुर्विस्फूर्जयन् दिव्यं द्विषतां खेदमुद्वहन् अस्त्रौघं व्यदमद्बाणैः घनानीकमिवानिलः
धनुर्विस्फूर्जयन् दिव्यं द्विषतां खेदमुद्वहन् अस्त्रौघं व्यधमद्बाणैः घनानीकमिवानिलः
Up here today. Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha, Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda, Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, Kahena Vacha Manasendriye Va Buddhyatmana Va Prakrite Swabhavat, Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayana Yeti Samarpayami. So I was just thinking, like to the Parayanam on April 12th, you still have about 31 plus 6, 37, about 50 days, okay? And we are only doing 14 chapters, approximately, right? So you can literally be doing one chapter a day. You can make all those chapters practice 3.5 times, potentially. Ideally, I don't even want anybody to pick any chapter and we all chant like we do Narayanam and Devi Mahatmyam right now. I want to do this. So if you can, please try that. All of you do one chapter a day. In 50 days, you'll cover those 14 chapters 3 times. Then we don't need to even have any assignments. Okay, let us plan for that. Or in the absence of that, you can pick chapters like we have right now. So, okay.
என்ன absence, Rajesh?
இல்ல அது பண்ணலனாக்கா அப்படி ரெடியா இல்லைனாக்கா then chapter assignments continue பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Rajesh.
Okay, thank you.
Rajesh.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Rajesh.
Bye.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.
Bye.